keep their jobs kind of
Yeah.
thing. So the beautiful thing about a small business, you don't have to talk to 20 different people to pitch a concept that might be a little risky or unique. So I mean, like I said, I worked with large companies before. It's never as satisfying. Even if you do end up seeing your work on a billboard or on a bus, and you're always like, oh, how cool.
This episode was brought to you by ERC, Employee Retention Credit. They specialize in getting money back for your business. Receive up to $26,000 per employee. It only takes 10 minutes to see if you qualify. Go to my website at lopezlassane.com, and on the top of my website, click the tab that says Get Money Back, or click the link in the bio. So don't wait on this. And the best part about this, it's absolutely free. No fees up front. You have nothing to lose. So go to my website or click the link in the bio and get started today. Welcome to another episode of the Online Marketing Secret Podcast. I'm your host, coming at you from King of CashflowWebsites.com. Like, share this episode, and tell me what you think below. So today, I have a wonderful guest. He's an award-winning speaker, international brand and marketing strategist. She's the creator of Sex Up Your Brand. She's also a best-selling author, TV host, and producer, and master speaker, coach. My special guest today is Sharon Zehavi.
Speakers, okay? So just recently, I worked with over 100 different speakers on different subjects, right? They're all trying to be mostly inspirational, some educational, some of them maybe more like on the platform speaking side. And they all have different topics. And I realized as I'm training them on how to speak and how to pitch better and how to be more entertaining, that I have all this insight on their topics. And even they were surprised. They're like, how do you know that? And I had no idea. I felt like it was such a Slumdog Millionaire kind of situation. I'm like, one time I went to this place and I saw this guy. And I think that even if you're not sure what your direction is that you're going, you're learning a lot of things on the way. And you might use them someday. You never know.
Well, yeah, that's basically how it is. You're not going to have all the answers before you get started.
Exactly.
That's pretty much really, at least that's been my experience. But, that holds a lot of people back, though, because they think that, hey, they're supposed to have all the answers, and they're afraid of the unknown.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're all afraid of the unknown, but yeah. I think we just need to be a little bit more compassionate with ourselves. Also realizing that even experts don't know everything, and it's okay to not know everything. Yeah. We're always learning. I mean, I love the fact that there's always things that I can go, oh, wow, I did not know that that's a thing, right? Tell me more. Let me find out how this works. And again, working with all these speakers, and they all pitch something that I've never heard of. I'm like, this is incredibly interesting. People should know about this, right? But I think it's okay. I think the journey of learning and growing is more exciting than knowing everything.
Yeah. So where are you from?
So originally, I was born in Israel, but now I live in Canada. So from the land of constant excitement, because there's constant drama, to the land of no drama. Everything is easy.
It's cold up there.
It is cold. I mean, when I moved, right, because I came from Israel, it's like desert, right? I moved here and I'm like, snow, it's so beautiful. I love every moment of it. About 2 years later, I was like, no, please just stop the snow.
Yeah.
I just want to go outside sometime, just to live. But right now it's insanely raining for no
Oh.
good reason.
So, how'd you learn how to speak, or who was the first person you saw on stage speak?
So that's really two different questions, and it's kind of interesting. So my dad is actually an actor. So I started performing on professional stages when I was 6 or maybe even younger, right? So I learned how to own a stage and present and speak and all that from a very, very young age. When I started getting into marketing and advertising and branding and business, and I used to attend all these, events where there's speakers, I was mesmerized by the concept because I'm like, hold on. I can merge all my knowledge with business and branding into performance, which is everything that I've done since I was 5 years old. I was like, I think this is the place for me. So, pretty quickly after I went to my first event, and it was just a small event in Toronto, like nobody famous really. I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And about a week later, I just went to an event and I was like, can I be on that stage? And they're like, are you a speaker? I'm like, yes. And that's how I got my first gig. It was quite exciting, actually.
Wow, that's good. I always, I spoke, in high school, we did the plays and
Nice.
And I did like, the speeches at church or and at school as well, and in college or whatever. But I was always nervous all the time. But
wait, nervous is good. You just need to shift from this nervous where you're shaking and you can't perform to excitement.
Yeah.
So instead of fearing of what could go wrong, be excited about what could go right, and you can use the same energy.
Yeah.
I feel like when you are kind of nervous, your adrenaline is high, you're on point, you're not missing a beat, you perform better under this kind of pressure.
Yeah, like once I get started, and a lot of people have said the same thing, once they get started, the nervousness goes away.
Yeah, I think, when the nervousness goes away for me, when you actually go on stage and things go really wrong. Once they go, one time, if you had one experience where everything is wrong, you're not that nervous anymore because you've experienced the worst version of it. So it will never be as bad as that one. I'm not that nervous.
Yeah, I've seen the mic went out on people. Somebody almost tripped. I've seen stuff like that happen. I'm like, oh my God, is he okay? God.
I know, and it's so painful. I had one time when the microphone didn't work, and I had a lapel mic, right?
Okay.
And I can tell that it's not working because I can't hear it back.
Yeah.
And I can also hear I can see people going like this, and I'm like, great. I'm like, it's time to give it all it's got, right? I'm not speaking softly anymore. Yeah. I just went to the other side of the stage, and I said, hey guys, do you have a handheld mic backup? Come on, I'm sure you do. And they're like, you have something. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Is it on? All right, and we're back. But see, that kind of confidence you don't get just from doing a few talks.
Oh, no.
You get it because when I was young and I was doing these shows with my dad, things like that would happen all the time. Microphone is out, things fall in the back, somebody forgets completely what they need to say or what's happening or what day it is, and you find a way to continue.
Yeah, you have to improvise.
Yeah,
exactly. So back then, I'm even 15 years ago, I didn't hear very few people talked about building a brand. And if they did talk about building a brand, it was associated with a logo or a design. It didn't have anything to do with how people think about you when you're not around, right. So it's a weird dynamic in the marketplace, at least back then. It's changed over the years. So is branding always something that you wanted to, I guess, go big with, or it's something you it was like a calling for you?
It's a good question. What I've noticed to be good at, and also I was very interested in, and I was very good at recognizing what people want, how to get them to do what you want them to do, what influences them in different way, emotionally or like mentally. And because I was very curious on different action, different situations and how they affect people, I got into this side of, at the deeper side of marketing, where you try to gain trust and credibility and build a relationship before you're trying to sell anything. And that's how I got deeper into branding, because I realized that my natural tendencies and my natural interests on how to connect with people really quickly, it's all in this controlling perception of building a relationship from a place of familiarity, or realizing what people want to see in your brand in order to become loyal to it. Because some brands we like being loyal to because they give us this feeling or promise of excitement, opportunity. Sometimes it's luxury. Sometimes it's just comfort and simple and cheap. And that's the reason why we like it, because we're like, we know that no matter what, it's going to be the cheapest option. And that still makes us loyal to a brand. So learning how to convey that in a really smart way, quickly, I think it's essential for everybody in business. Doesn't matter how big your business is.
Yeah, especially today, because I remember 15 years ago when I came online, people were selling anything and it would sell and it would keep selling, and people would get ripped off, and because a lot of people would not deliver on their promises. And over time, I think when Amazon came online, first they were selling like books,
Right.
And then they started selling everything. Amazon kind of changed the landscape online because everyone kind of had to upgrade their game and have a little bit more integrity now. And it became where it got to a point where people couldn't hide anymore, and people wouldn't buy from you unless they saw who was behind the website.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is what's going on right now. The market is saturated no matter where you're at in the market.
Yeah.
Right? So if I want to find somebody for any service, there's so many options. I don't even have to look that hard. I just Google and I find somebody close to me, far from me. It doesn't matter. It's so easy, which means marketing and advertising, it's just not enough. No. Because it's not just about visibility. It's actually about credibility and building some kind of an emotional connection that makes me go, I don't want to search for other options. I like this option. It makes me feel like something. I mean, my business is called Sex Up Your Brand. And the whole concept behind Sex Up Your Brand, and this is what I talk about when I do my talks as well, is that branding is like a long-term relationship, right? So you're trying to attract, you're trying to seduce your target market to make sure that they're interested in what you have to offer, but it's also about how you're going to keep them there. And that's what you use branding for, through values and connection. And when you just use advertising, it's like you're like a one-time kind of a one-night stand, right? You saw something in an ad, you bought it, you couldn't care less where you got it from or what they're about, and you just pay for it and you go. But if you really want people to come back, you need to build a proper brand.
Yeah. So you focus on small businesses mostly?
I work with all sizes of businesses, but I do like working with small businesses more because it's a lot more exciting. First of all, you get to create something sometimes from scratch.
Yeah.
And also, you get to work with organic types of marketing because they usually don't have a lot of funds. They don't have a great budget, which means you can't just go, yeah, we'll buy this spot, we'll do this PR, we'll do this commercial. You actually have to be very creative on how to gain momentum with very little cost, which I find very exciting. So that's the reason why I like working with small businesses more.
Yeah, the reason, and that's why I asked that, because a lot of big businesses, they've been doing the same thing forever, even though it might not be working that well. So if somebody like you or me walk in there and with these new ideas, they'll be like, I don't know, they a lot of times. Do you find that that it's hard to justify why they should add this to what they're already doing?
Trying to work with a big company, you have to get everybody's approval. Everything is on the budget for next year. Everything is slow and safe, and nobody wants to risk anything, right? Because they all want to just, keep their jobs kind of thing. So the beautiful thing about a small business, you don't have to talk to 20 different people to pitch a concept that might be a little risky or unique. So I mean, like I said, I worked with large companies before. It's never as satisfying. Even if you do end up seeing your work on a billboard or on a bus, and you're always like, oh, how cool. Or, you get your ad on TV and you're like, that's awesome, I worked on that. But it's never that satisfying.
Yeah. So what made you say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start a company, and it's going to be based on branding and marketing. What made, because it's one thing to say, hey, I'm good at doing this. I understand this. I can get on stage and speak about this and educate people about this. But now, I'm going to start this company, and more than likely I'm going to have employees, and I'm going to help, hundreds of companies. And what made you have the confidence to do that?
So I would love to tell you that it was some kind of an epiphany, and I was like, I'm going to build something great. But the truth is, just like how much I love organic marketing, it all happened very much organically.
Okay.
And so much in a way, like I worked in an advertising agency and I learned quite a lot of skills. And when I moved to Canada, when I moved to Toronto, which is where I live now, I just decided to kind of offer some of my skills like a side thing because people were asking. It was sort of happening organically. And at some point I realized that it's happening a lot. A lot of people need my help, and a lot of people want more information, and not just on advertising or design or marketing, but the whole thing, how to build a really strong brand. So I started helping them. And then I realized more people want it. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do a freelance thing. So I started a freelance thing. And then it just got so big that I was like, hey, I think this is like a business now. Might as well set it up like a business. So it's all happening organically, and every opportunity that I've been getting since, whether if it's amazing clients or opportunities to speak on stage or partners, they're all just happening because I like talking to people and I like helping other companies and other people. And because of that, doors just open up. So I think being authentic and genuine to helping others can lead you to your purpose.
Yeah, that makes it easier. If you actually like being around people and talking to people, that makes things much easier. I think a lot of people don't necessarily like being around people all the time. They kind of like, now there might be certain aspects of what they like doing at certain times, but when it comes to people, it's kind of like, I can kind of get the vibe sometimes that, they just kind of, it's like, hey, you're okay, but hey, I'm what they usually say, I'm a introvert.
Right. I know it's a challenge for a lot of people, especially now where we're so used to communicating online, right? Like we don't feel like we have to be connected in order to be connected. So I know people sometimes kind of get into this comfort zone where they don't want to be around other people, but I think it's important. I think connecting with people is not just important for your business. I think it's essential for us as humans.
Oh, yeah.
We're supposed to be herd animals where we're supposed to live in communities. And the more we push away from that, bigger houses, further away from the city, like further away with everything, only talking online, we all become more miserable. And it's not surprising that everybody's now dealing with some kind of form of depression or anxiety, because we remove something essential to our existence, being around people.
Yeah. Yeah, what that reminds me of the pandemic. A lot of people were stuck inside, and I guess they couldn't go very far, so, and that made a lot of people come online, and I think today we're more connected than ever, but at the same time we're more disconnected.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I have some situations where I feel it's bizarre. Again, I'm a very, very much a people person. I had a friend that I didn't hear from for a long time send me a message being like, hey, been thinking about you. I hope you're doing great. And I messaged back and I said, oh, that's so nice hearing from you. I hope you're doing well. Do you want to hang out sometimes next week? Disappeared. No response, no nothing. That was too much. The idea that we might meet. So I think you're right. A lot of people during COVID, like they had to disconnect, but a lot of people are staying there.
Yeah.
Kind of like got into this comfort zone of their own bubble. And I think that's unfortunate. I mean, I know for me, I could not wait for COVID to be over.
Oh, man.
I was like, where are the parties? When can I see more people? I'm getting on the first flight.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you tired of struggling online, not getting the results you want? Maybe you just need some help. If that's the case, go to kingofcashflowwebsites.com/secrets. And the best part about it, you can learn from the best of the best. You can learn from some of the best marketers in the world. Plus, it's absolutely free. It's absolutely free. So don't wait on this. Go to kingofcashflowwebsites.com/secrets. Back to our red schedule program.
To wherever is allowed. It was hard for me.
Yeah, that was like a nightmare for somebody like me. Because like the only place I was able to go at the time was the grocery store. I'm like, oh my God, and then, which is the main reason why I started a podcast, not this one, but another one.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I started a podcast during that time because I was just sitting around. I'm like, I don't have anything to do. At the time, I was living in Atlanta, and the whole city shut down. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? So, and a lot of people haven't recovered from that. They can't have it. So, how did the pandemic affect your business?
So if you're up for talking a little bit deeper beyond business, I'll tell you this.
Yeah. Cool.
During COVID, I was so lucky to also be diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, God.
So I had to deal with being on treatment throughout COVID. So like while the whole world was worrying about getting some kind of a disease, my immune system was shut.
Yeah.
Shut. Which means I could not see any human, not even a little bit, because if I would have gotten anything, I would probably not survive.
Yeah.
So it was really, really difficult. However, because I had nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, my business was doing amazing during that time. So I was on the couch, couldn't do a thing, was feeling pretty sick, but I could sell and I could promote and I could still guide my clients through things. It was all through my phone. Nobody could see, like nobody saw me for a year. They wouldn't even see me on video. I would not turn it on. I would just be like, no, it's okay. Don't worry. My internet connection is not great. We're just going to do it just voice. That was like the whole year, the first year of the pandemic. I had to deal with all this crap and my business still did well. But the main reason it did well is because, first of all, it's online based. So it makes it easy, right? I didn't have an office. All my clients are from around the world anyway.
Oh, okay.
And the second thing is because it's so easy to focus on your work when you can't focus on anything else. There's nothing else going on. The world is shut.
Yeah.
So
you beat it? You beat the cancer?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good. We need more humans like you around. That's good.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's hard because a lot of people suffer through these things and they suffer through this alone.
Yeah, that's true too. You know. So, how'd you become a writer?
So I always thought that I always thought I was good at it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I always thought I was good at it. I just got an opportunity from a friend of mine who publishes books, and she asked me if I wanted to contribute to her book. So that's when I first wrote my first piece, and it ended up being a bestseller too. And since then, I wrote into some, articles, into some magazines, and more books. So I think I basically knew I was good at writing because I used to do speeches.
Yeah, exactly.
I turned my speeches into stories, and a lot of my stories in these books, they're on the inspirational side. So it's some of the stuff that you have to go through more emotionally rather than focus on business,
Yeah. I think for most people, if they speak on stage, they usually write a book at some point. Usually.
Yeah, because we don't shut up. That's we don't shut up. Not on stage, not here. You're just like, no, I have things to say. Sorry, things to say. Yeah. So might as well publish a book. Makes it easier.
What about being a TV host? How'd that come about?
So that's what I mean. Like everything that you would say, I would say I met someone who thought I could do this. So it's all about meeting the right people. So I met this person who was a TV producer, and he got me a segment on his program. He liked my energy, liked my attitude, he liked what I had to offer. And I just always say yes, even if I'm nervous, right? Like even if somebody's like, do you want to do this? And I'm like, oh my, will I be good at it? I don't know. Maybe this is hard. I just go, yes. And I swallow that horrible fear and I just make it happen. Only good things are happening if you say yes to opportunities. Even if you embarrass yourself and you think it was awful, somebody's going to like it and somebody's going to come to you and say, oh, I love what you did. You were very sweet when you fell on your face during that show or whatever, right? Like they would like it. You have to put yourself out there to get opportunities.
Yeah, that's true. So you've been based online the entire time, besides your speaking on stage and
exactly. So I would speak on stage. Sometimes I would run local workshops. Sometimes if I was speaking in Toronto, I would do a workshop after that so people can join and we can do things together. But most of the time, everything is online.
Gotcha. So you have a lot of women followers?
Yes, I do. Actually, I think a lot of women are attracted to the concept of being able to own it and have a lot of confidence in their abilities, because it may not be something you can relate to, I don't know, but we get shut down pretty often. Yeah, and it's hard because women are amazing, can do a lot of wonderful things, and they have confidence, but it gets shut down often. And then we start apologizing for our nature. So I'm the apologetic type. I think I'll have a lot of women who follow what I have to say.
Yeah, there's a lot. I have some women in my life are like that. They've been shut down so many times. And when I tell them, hey, you should really think about doing that, they say, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you should just think about it. I don't know.
I know. How unfortunate is that, right? Like we can all make a difference if we just had a little bit more confidence in our abilities. and not be so afraid of what people have to say. People will always have something to say. It's
thing. Yeah, you can't win that.
No, you can. You will literally always lose. Yeah. Okay, it's unbelievable. I mean, in one of the books, I actually wrote something about that, because when I was younger, I was very uncomfortable kind of like embracing the way I looked. I actually thought I was very ugly and I shouldn't bother, because why should I even deal with all this mess that will forever look horrible? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a woman thing.
I was like, whatever, this is the worst, right? Like, I just, don't worry about it. So I was always like wearing like jeans and t-shirt, okay? Like super boyish, like even when I was in my 20s. And everybody around me was like, you know, Sharon, you could be pretty if you tried a little bit. Or, you know, let's do a makeover. Just, you know, be confident. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And then, you know, when I was ripe enough for it, I did a bit of this like makeover, kind of like relax, dress up the way I like, be a little bit more feminine and so on. And then what people have to say, that's too much. Dial it down. Stop being like this. This is very uncomfortable. Why are you wearing a tight shirt? That's really bad. And it's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I spent like 10 years trying to embrace the way I look, and now I need to hide it again.
Yeah, you can't win. And for women, everywhere they go is a magazine here, there's a banner there, there's another woman they compare themselves there. It's like, I think every woman is unique, and with their own look, own personality, how they were raised, habits, etc. You know?
I think we should embrace our uniqueness. And I think what we also need to remember is that, you know, there's no point of comparing yourself to whatever nonsense is out there for makeup or hair or all these celebrities that have personal trainers and so on. It's not that nice to be 60 and look like you're 25. It's not. Oh, no. It's nice to be 60 and look 60 and own it and be relaxed and embrace what you have to offer. Because the problem for us as women is that our value is so connected to the way we look.
Yeah.
So much less for men. But for women, it's like our main value. And once it's gone, we have less value. And that's nonsense.
Yeah, it is. You know,
and we have to break out of that. We have to break out of that. Nobody's going to do it for us. No magazine and no speaker about confidence and no nothing. We have to realize that it's just not okay. And our value has nothing to do with the way we look.
I always say, why try to fit in if you already stand out?
I like that.
You know, so who's your, I guess, ideal client or the perfect client?
It's an interesting question. My ideal client. Well, I think my ideal client would be someone who is ready for to step up, to kind of like, you know, they were behind the scenes for a bit, but they know that they are meant to be, you know, in the spotlight, and they're ready for that kind of makeover. So they're ready to release some of their fears and some of their struggles and put themselves out there. And I think that would be my ideal client. Now, on a more granular level, I mean, I don't care what industry they're in. I don't care what their service is, but I do prefer to work with people or organizations that are more impact driven. So it just resonates with me a lot more. If they want to do something better and help others and change the world, then I'm all in.
Now that's funny that you say you don't care what industry they're in. I do. There's one industry I will not work with.
And what is it?
Porn.
I did not expect that, actually.
No, I would not do that.
Now, it depends. What if they get you to be like a director and you can like change the face of
I have been approached with that. That's
really?
I have been approached with that.
Nobody asked me.
No. So you must get people all the time. They'll approach you and say, "Hey, I have a great idea. You know, I got this, I got that. I have a product, I have a service. How do I promote it online? I know you get people that say things like this from time to time.
So I think a lot of people, they kind of want to be found. I think this is a little bit from this like reality show kind of thing, where they're like, you know, people, look at me, I'm amazing, find me and like take me in and show me the way, right? And there's always a lot of work involved, and they need to realize that. So like nobody's gonna find them, and they're just gonna like make it. And I also work with a lot of startups that are looking to fundraise, right? Okay. So you can imagine how many of them are like, I'm gonna change the world. Why can't you just like help me for free and just put me out there? And it's like, there is so much work involved in building momentum, building a brand, putting your stuff out there so somebody actually cares.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of it has to do with personal branding and credibility, and not so much the product. And that's something people neglect often, right? Like you said to yourself, people want to know who you are, what you're about, what you've done before. It's less about the product now. It's about knowing you. And if people don't know how to position themselves properly online, which by the way, they can do for free most of the time, it's always going to be damaged. Like whatever attempts they're going to make in selling themselves, it's not going to work as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking for the magic bullet because, you know, back in the day, you had a lot of quote unquote gurus online that were that were selling their products, right? And it was the same 10, 12 people selling everybody's stuff over and over again. And people used to sit back and watch and be like, hey man, he's so cool. Everybody knows him. And they'll show up at the event. But he's like famous only in that little small bubble. Outside that little bubble, nobody knows who he or she may be. But people they want to take that, what I call the Kim Kardashian model. Where it's like, hey, I want to be famous. I want to have millions of followers online. I want to be able to post whatever I want on Instagram and Twitter, and people just go buy it.
Yeah, the thing is, they never see the way that it takes to get there. They don't realize how much money people put into it when it seems fast. Right? Like when you seem like it's something, somebody's just showed up really quickly into the spotlight, they put a lot of money into it.
Exactly.
So it costs time, it costs energy, it costs money, but it also I think it's about focus. I think the people who get to where they really want to be, it's because they have one focus and they do it because they want to reach that goal. And a lot of people who just want it easy and just make more money, sell your things. Why not? I see other people do it. I can do it. It's not coming from an authentic place. No. And you're never going to do well if it's not coming from an authentic place.
No. And that's another thing. A lot of people, and I've met some people personally. It's like you see them online and it's like a persona that they have. And when you meet them in person, it's like, man, this is like a totally different person. And they even have security.
They do even have security.
Yeah, so that's when and this was early, like 10 years ago when I went to a conference, and I was like, oh, this person is just a persona that they have online. That's not who they really are. And even though we exchanged messages back and forth a couple of times, and they acted like they didn't know who I was. So I thought and then I thought my experience was unique. And I talked to other people, they said, no, I had the same experience too. So I said, oh, okay, you know.
How weird. It's unfortunate because that's exactly what I was saying. I was saying, you trying to build a relationship, with an identity, with a brand, with a person. And then there's all these promises and you can't keep those promises. It's not going very far.
And a lot of those people, they came and left. They're not around anymore. At least I don't see them anyway. So if people wanted to work with you, where do they go to?
My website is sexupyourbrand.com. You can also easily find me on LinkedIn. or Facebook or Instagram, but I would prefer LinkedIn because I respond faster there. So if you really want to message me and you have questions or anything, I'm happy to help as long as you are real and kind.
There you have it. All links will be found in the show notes. Tell me what you think below. Until next time, we're out. Peace.